Hey everyone! I'm Albert Boris. So, around 3 years ago, I made a video where I ranked the boards of Mario Party Superstars. How did it turn out? And the Koopa Bank spaces are very awkwardly placed, so that you'll probably never even pass them. Oh god. Yet, this video hasn't really aged the best as far as editing goes. And even as far as the contents of the video, I didn't even say much about the boards themselves. I mostly just rambled on about the visual improvements and only barely talked about their gameplay. Then again, I also only did a 10-turn match each before making the video, so there was a lot that I missed. But now, 3 years later, now that I have over 360 hours of playtime, yes, don't judge me, I practically know these boards better than I do my family. So I thought maybe I should do an updated ranking video, one which likely won't age it as badly. And seeing as Super Mario Party Jamboree is coming out in less than 4 months now, I thought it would be fun to go back to this little gem and see how well its 5 boards hold up.
But what if I don't care and just want to see your old ranking video?
Do you really want to? I mean, if you really so desire, I'll put a link to it in the description. Just be warned, weirdo. But yeah, with all of that being said, I say, let's get started. In last place, we have Spaceland, hailing from Mario Party 2. This wasn't really much of a surprise to me. Going into this game, this was probably the board that I was least excited to try out, since I found it frustrating in the original, and I still kind of do. It's not bad, but it's definitely the one that aggravates me the most. For starters, the whole map is basically just a giant square, with some other paths jutting out from the center. That's kind of underwhelming. The fact that the whole board is just a bunch of long straightaways is already monotonous as it is, but it wouldn't be so bad if it weren't for the speeders. Whenever someone lands on an event space, a speeder will force you all the way back to the start of a lane. It's already annoying on its own since it means so much progress has gone to waste, but the fact that it also happens so often because of how many event spaces there are just makes it all the more gut-punching. But hey, at least you can bribe these snippets to stay on patrol for speeders. Surely that will cancel out the event, right? No, now you're just pushed back even further. What? Why would I want that? I don't want to deal with the speeders at all. Or well, it's not all bad, since on the left side it means you can go to the item shop again, and on the right side there's another chance to meet up with Boo. But I still wish there was also a way to just cancel out the event entirely, or at least make you immune to the speeders, since most of the time I'd rather want to move forward than backwards. At least they don't push you onto a completely different path like they did in the original. Now that was completely detrimental. The main attraction of Spaceland though has to be the Bowser laser. Whenever someone crosses the center of this board, a timer will slowly go down like a bomb, and when it hits 0, Black Hole Bowser will shoot a laser across this path, and anyone caught in it loses all their coins. Yep, not half their coins, all of them. And that's shockingly barbaric. Especially for Mario Party Superstar standards. But even if it does add a layer of strategy to bribing the snippets, since getting pushed back puts you right in the lane of crossfire, all of your coins getting stolen is just way too punishing. Unless you're filthy rich, then I don't care. For what it's worth, I do like the concept of it, even if it should only take half your coins. On the flip side though, it's not an irredeemable board. The soundtrack of Spaceland is actually one of my favorites from this game. I love how absolutely epic and heroic it sounds, and it almost makes me feel bad for not liking this board so much. Almost. Sadly, the atmosphere on this board is still pretty dull, since the whole board just looks like a toy set rather than an actual space station. The original version definitely made me feel more immersed, and that's saying something considering it was on the N64. So yeah, this is a pretty problematic board. I don't dislike Spaceland, it definitely has its charm and a few neat ideas, but between all of the boards in Mario Party Superstars, it's definitely the one I come back the least to, due to how many questionable gimmicks there are. In 4th place, we have Yoshi's Tropical Island, the first board of the game. Already, I'd say that this is a noticeable improvement from Spaceland, my least favorite board, and that might definitely come off as a surprise because in Mario Party 1, this was leagues below any other map. I hated it. The concept was fine on the surface, having 2 islands that would rotate the star and Bowser whenever event spaces were landed on, but the execution was just so subpar because everything just boiled down to luck. Never mind that there was no reason to be on the left side to begin with, since the right island had Boo. But shockingly, this version is actually really playable, because guess what? Unlike Mario Party 1, Mario Party Superstars has items! Not only does the left island now have an item shop, giving more of a purpose to it, but the items themselves make the map so much more strategic. Yup, All it took to fix the board was this thing called items. It's actually kind of unbelievable how much worse many of Mario Party 1's boards are without items. Now, I actually really love Yoshi's Tropical Island. It's chaotic, but still fair this time. The only thing that I kinda wish is that the bridges went both ways instead of just one, since it kind of limits the amount of movement options you have as of now. But on the other hand, it does add an element of strategy as well, since it makes items a lot more valuable, if you also have to loop the whole left island again in order to get to the shop. And at least it's easy enough to traverse between sides, since all you have to do is pay up some coins for these thwomps, something which is of no shortage in this game. It's still a pretty simple board, but I'd be lying if I said this wasn't a glow up. Visually too, man is it gorgeous, and I love the dramatic elevation changes. But yeah, Yoshi's Tropical Island, what a great map, surprisingly. In third place, we have Peach's Birthday Cake. Ah, this one's a classic. Peach's Birthday Cake is the kind of board that laughs at every misstep that happens to you, and it's hilarious all the way through. Even the music feels like it's taunting you. From what I can gather, this isn't really the most popular map, since it's much more luck-based than the others, but the way I see it, this is the kind of board that knows it's a hot mess and just goes along with it, which makes it loop back to being fun again. The whole board is basically just one path circling a cake, and only time you do get a split path, it's randomized which direction you go. That seems underwhelming at first, since I criticized Yoshi's Tropical Island for not having enough junctions, but what sets this one apart despite having even less is that there's just more events that can occur. When a game starts, it's nothing too crazy. You mostly just go with the flow, trying to reach the star at the top of the cake, and sometimes having luck landing on event spaces, allowing you to plant a piranha plant, which can steal someone else's coins. And when everyone has finally planted their seeds, it becomes one huge minefield, especially after they've also been upgraded to steal stars. It just gets completely insane, but it's not unfair. Like Yoshi's Tropical Island, this is another map that hails from Mario Party 1, and greatly benefits from the addition of items, since it allows for some more strategizing on your part. Warp blocks are especially fun on this board because of how much you can screw over players who haven't passed the star yet. So evil. One thing that's not strategic though is the flower lottery. After passing the item shop, you have to pay this greedy Goomba 10 coins and then pick a seed, which will determine whether we can continue onto the normal path or if you're gonna have to take a detour for a Bowser's cake. This was especially sadistic in the original Mario Party 1, since the lottery was right before the star, and whenever you had finished looping around the Bowser zone, you had to do the lottery again, which could theoretically cause you to be stuck in it forever. In this version though, since it's located after the star, you just go back to the star, which I don't really like this change. Because yeah, while it was unusually barbaric in the original, this is a board that thrived on being ruthless, and either way there was only a 1 in 4 chance of getting the Bowser seed anyways. So it wasn't that bad. But now that it's a shortcut to the star, it's arguably better than the main path, which will be riddled with piranha plants at that point. But you still lose a couple of coins on top of the 10 coins that you were forced to spend on the lottery, so it's not exactly a free star at least. And beyond that, the other changes to this board are really good. It's nice to have a slide shortcut that potentially allows you to skip the lottery, and the fact that the piranha plants can now steal coins, as opposed to just stars like in 1, is a nice change that allows for chaos to ensue even early on. So overall, I'd say that I kind of love this map. It stands out and entertains me more than Spaceland and Yoshi's Tropical Island, however, it's not as big or strategic as the top 2 boards on this list. Hence why it's in third place. The silver medal of my ranking goes to Horrorland. Yeah, this map barely managed to miss out on first place to me. To be honest, both of my 2 favorite maps in this game are pretty equal in quality, and really it could go either way, but in the end I think I like this one slightly less. However, Horrorland is still freaking amazing! It's easily the most complex board in Mario Party Superstars, and is probably one of the best balances between luck and skill. The standout gimmick to this map is no doubt the day and night cycle. Before Mario Party 6 made it into its trademark feature, Horrorland in Mario Party 2 was the one that started it, so that whenever 2 turns had passed or someone landed on event space, the time of the day would suddenly change. And this completely changes the dynamic of the board. For example, during night, some pathways will be blocked off, but on the other hand, it's also when the most powerful boos are active, including King Boo who can steal from 3 players at once, as well as these 2 right next to each other. So you really gotta think ahead on this board and consider what items to buy and what decisions to make. And that's not even all. You can also change the time of the day if you pass specific areas on the map, and there are so many split paths to take. It's practically impossible to get bored on this board. So, why isn't this map number 1? Well, partly because the best map is just that good, but also because this board just has way too many lucky spaces. This game overall has an issue with having too many of these, but it's especially bad here considering 24 of all spaces are just this. Meanwhile, the red/Bowser spaces are over thrice as rare, which completely throws off the balance, and often makes it too easy. And screw every single CPU that keeps buying chomp calls and changing the star location. But at least there's no golden pipes in the shops, so you can't just cheat your way to the star. Still, Horrorland is amazing, just not as great as my #1 favorite map. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is none other than Woody Woods. No, not that Woody. The only returning map from Mario Party 3. The fact that Mario Party 3 only got one board to represent itself in Superstars while the first two games got 2 each will always be disappointing, especially because of how ambitious 3's boards were. But on the other hand, at least the one they did pick was one of the best ones. First off, I love forest themes. I love the greenery, I love how lush it feels, and the music is so happy and optimistic. But now that I got my bias out of the way, let's talk about what really makes this board great. Like Horrorland, this is another map that is largely based around planning and strategy. But unlike Horrorland, it has a gimmick centered around these arrows. Every turn, there are 3 junctions on the map, which will change the direction you're allowed to go in. And while that may seem like boring luck out of your control at first, remember that there's items. Once again, you always have to plan out your moves and what power-ups to stock up your inventory with, in order to go where you want to. Horrorland may sometimes hinder your movement options, but for Woody Woods, you always have to be vigilant, and I love that. And that's not all. Mario Party 3's boards also has this thing called Action Time for some of its event spaces. These allow the player to do something a little more engaging as part of a board event, whether avoiding a giant snowball, jumping over cactuses, or trying to avoid getting sucked in by a bloober. Woody Woods, sadly, has the least engaging action time, which is also probably why it was the easiest one to remake, but it's still fun, as this tree Woody here gives you the option to either roll the dice again or win some coins, and there's even an evil version of him later on, which gives the opposite rewards. Meaning that this is the only technical appearance of the reverse dice in this game, which is super cool in its own right. Otherwise, this map didn't really see much changes from its original counterpart though. Besides the updated visuals, the only real change is the fact that the skeleton key doors go in the opposite direction now. Which, to be fair, makes much more sense. Sure, it's easier to get to Boo now, but only if you have a skeleton key. Better question is, why would anyone want to miss out on him in the original? So yeah, Woody Woods is and will always be my favorite Mario Party Superstars board, because we're definitely not getting DLC anymore. It's not perfect, golden pipes slightly ruin the board since if you're rich enough, you can just stock up on them due to how many shops there are, which kind of ruins some of the strategy, but at the same time, it's also slightly compensated by the plunder chest shop, which makes it a bit more risky to buy them, so it evens out a bit. And so, that concludes my updated ranking of the boards in Mario Party Superstars. What are your favorite Mario Party Superstars boards? Did you agree with me or not? Let me know down below what your ranking is, and if it's perhaps changed since the game released. In the meantime, make sure to like, share and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos like this. Join my Discord server, Green Pipe City, and follow me on Twitter and Patreon. And with all of that being said, I'm signing off. Until next time.